May 26, 2013. This is advanced lesson number 10. Greeting bridge friends, Michael here at Bridge Hands, and welcome to our next lesson. We have something different in this episode. We are going to be talking about the entire 2/1 system. So over the next 5 segments of this episode, we will learn the basics of the 2/1 system. Now here in part 1, we'll start off with the reasons why this spinning approach became so popular with aspiring bridge players, its benefits, and the basic principles of the 2/1 system, including some helpful tips. Then in part 2, we'll bid several hands to illustrate the standard American shortcomings compared to the 2/1 system when bidding games or slams. Of course, with any system, it is imperative to know when bids are forcing, and in part 3, I will differentiate forcing bids from non-forcing bids and address some of the perceived shortcomings before we bid some more hands to address concerns for the curious of you out there in the audience. Finally, in part 4 and part 5, we'll spend a fair amount of time practicing bids with the somewhat mysterious bidding tool, the forcing one no trump response. So if you already have more than a nodding acquaintance with the 2/1 system, well then feel free to go ahead, jump ahead into the segment here, or go ahead into parts 2 through 5 of this episode. Now, with any system, once we sit down at the table, bridge bidding can sometimes feel like we are navigating uncharted territory. Well, would you believe there are 53 times 10 to the 27th power of possible hands that can be dealt in bridge? 53 with 6 zeros would be 53 million. So 53 with 27 zeros would be really big number that would be hard to imagine. Well, no wonder there are so many wonderful ideas on how to bid all these excellent combinations of hands. The good news is that when you pick up your 13 cards, there are only 635 billion combinations of hands you may hold. Seriously though, when we play a system like Standard American or the 2/1 system that we will be discussing in this series of Bridge Hands episodes, once we incorporate the basic requirements of what becomes eligible for a 2/1 bid, you will improve your accuracy bidding games, slams, and know when to use the force. The forcing one no trump, that is. And not to worry, I will highlight the forcing no trump in each of our video segments, so everyone will be up to speed with our new gadget by the time we get really deep into the bidding in exercises in part 4 and 5 of this system. And once we learn to harness the energy of the forcing one no trump call, you will appreciate its versatility to help us find the best possible part score contract. So, going back to the early days of bridge with the legendary players Eli Culberson and Charles Gorin, everyone opened naturally with 4-card or longer suits, minors, or the majors. Now, life seemed fine and dandy up to the 1950s when the Americans played in international competition, the Bermuda Bowl, where they represented USA and found their bidding system was, well, substandard. Then in the 1950s, Alvin Roth noted that the winning Italian blue team was playing a new, strong one-club system. When the Italians opened with an artificial one-club bid, it showed 16 plus points. Said nothing about clubs. Better yet, when partner made a positive game-going response with 8 or more points, the pair could use elegant, low-level forcing bids to further describe their hand at these low levels to find the best game, without fear of partner passing out the auction. Of course, you know what else, don't you? The icing of the cake was accurately exploring makeable slam contracts to rack up even more points with precise bidding. And speaking of precise bidding, well, we have some precision books here. The first being Precision Bidding in Bridge, CCY, edited by Alan Truscott. Aha, very precise. Next up, we have Match Point Precision, CCY, with Ron Anderson. And oh, by the way, there was a Schenken Big Club that came around earlier than these. The Precision One Club Complete with CC's wife, Catherine Y., and Judy Radin. And Charles Gorin, not to be left out of this, in the 1950s, 60s, he came up with precision system of contract bridge systems. Well, how about that, Charles? Good for you. And more likely in the current days, we see things such as Precision Today, appropriately named by David Berkowitz and Brett Manley. Later on, we'll take a look at some of the 2/1 books as well. So after Alvin Roth and playing partner Tobias Stone got to work and developed a comprehensive system which employed a new gadget, the Forcing One No Trump bid by responder. It would be used to describe catch-all bids to describe hands with less than game values after partner initially opened one heart or one spade by an unpassed hand. Well, during this time, while the Western United States continued to play the Gorin 4-card major system for an opening bid, many in the East Coast began playing a 5-card major opening bids, then known as the Eastern Scientific System. And progressing to the 1970s, these factors led up to the 5-card Western style that incorporated, you know what? Yes, the Forcing One No Trump call in response to partners' 5 or longer card major suit opener, also known as the Western Scientific System, or what else? Yes, the 2/1 system designed by Richard Walsh, along with playing partners John Swanson and Paul Soloway. Now, as an aside, Max Hardy also played the system with Rhoda Walsh, writing an initial book on 2/1 that was later followed up with dozens more he authored along with publisher Mike Lawrence and others. We can see some of the books here. First off, in the early days, it was the 2/1 Game Force, expanded and revised by Max Hardy. Yes, the late Max Hardy. Other of his more recent books were Standard Bridge Bidding for the 21st Century. Of course, that would be a 2/1 approach. And he had some more, such as Advanced Bridge, which had advanced bids to go with the system. And in that era, a little bit before, Mike Lawrence had his workbook for the 2/1 system. Much the same, but with some significant variances we'll talk about later. And Paul Thurston for Masterpoint Press, Bridge 25 Steps to Learning 2/1, popular series. And D. Barry had one, nice, concise, and sure enough called 2/1 in a Nutshell. And more recently, we've had one by Audrey Grant and Eric Rodwell. What? Eric Rodwell, doesn't he play a version of the Strong One Club? Yes, he does, but this is a popular series for us mortals, so he and Audrey Grant came up with 2/1 Game Force. How about that? So you can see there's a lot of different books written on this, and with that, as you might expect, there are a lot of styles out there, and later on we will highlight some of the nuances that leading 2/1 authors and top players advocate in their systems, but more on that later. Okay, back to the 2/1 system. The key elements of this new method was that after a one heart or one spade opening bid by an unpassed hand, responders' 2-level bid in a new suit at the lower level was, is, and always will be forcing to game. Now how about that? Just like the Italian Blue Club team and their precision players, starting with a positive bid and a positive response, a 2/1 response is game forcing. Recall that in order to address hands without a fit and a minimum of 6 to 9 points, as well as medium invitational hands with 9 to 12 points, or good 11, they use the Forcing One No Trump bid as a catch-all system. This way, when opener makes a 2-level suit rebid in that lower ranking suit, the responder could go ahead and make a further description on rebids to find game and, yes, explore those slams. Well, okay, from a high level, let's compare the common standard American system to the 2/1 system. In standard American, after opening one heart or one spade bid by an unpassed hand, and responder makes a 2-level bid in a lower ranking suit, it shows 10 or more points and is forcing one round. Compare that to our 2/1 methods, where most 2/1 players, the bid is game forcing. Now, in a moment, I will discuss some of the caveats and contrasting responders' one no trump bid after an unpassed hand by partner, open in a major, playing standard American. The call shows 6 to 9 points, or maybe a bad 10 points, and is tended as a sign-off bid, where in the 2/1 system, after one heart or one spade, one no trump by responder, the call could show as low as a good 5 points, all the way up to 12 points or so. Again, more for those who deviate, playing non-standard methods. So, in the 2/1 system, responder's one no trump bid forces the opener to rebid, assuming no interference. Well, okay, to address my hedging, and no surprises here, not everyone has exactly the same ideas on methods for all 2/1 bids, as we mentioned in some of these books. So I'm a bit amused that one of the recent 2/1 bridge books starts, "The 2/1 game force is not a new bidding system. It is simply a small modification to standard bidding methods." Well, in spirit, this is nice, so certainly it does have an element of truthiness. Yet considering the bidding sequences with opening bidder, 1 diamond, and responder bidding 2 clubs, how about that? Huh? Haven't discussed that one yet. So, it is a bit surprising that even for this seemingly innocent-looking auction, opinions vary whether or not the sequence should be included in the 2/1 game-forcing genre. In fact, in Mike Lawrence's excellent 2/1 workbook, he spends 50 pages discussing this challenging sequence. Well, there you go. Well, along this line, several years ago, while interviewing Eddie Cantor on a Bridge Hands podcast, he joked with me about how he would send his Dallas Aces playing partner, Mike Lawrence, his dreaded manila envelopes with numerous pages on new partnership methods requiring, yes, lots of detailed agreements. Eventually, Mike sent Eddie a succinct outline that covered most situations in Eddie's lengthy documents. On the other hand, some years back, international bridge coach Eric Kokish sent me his 400-page detailed system notes for all the bells and whistles with tons of glorious 2/1 methods associated with each variation. And if that's not enough, would you believe that at one time, the Meckwell team maintained over 700 pages of their variation of precision bidding system before mercifully scaling back a bit? Well, back to Eric Kokish. He counsels international teams before they represent their country in Bermuda Bowl competition. Eric smartly strives to synthesize a myriad of detailed agreements into more manageable, generalized methods to ensure playing partners are on the same wavelength. For instance, regarding preemptive bids, Eric will have teammates consider a variety of hands in various seats, allowing them to quickly lock in high-level agreements. Sounds a lot like Mike Lawrence's approach versus Eddie Cantor's onslaught of his self-proclaimed rash of dreaded manila envelopes. At any rate, here I will try not to get too bogged down, but from time to time I will strive to lock in important agreements based upon various styles that are worthy to be discussed with you and your 2/1 partners. And later on I will discuss different styles where you and your partner will want to discuss some of the subtle 2/1 bidding agreements. Okay, so the bottom line is that you and your partner, time and attention to learn new methods are contingent on the effort you wish to invest and the enjoyment of taking a long or a short journey, plus your collective partnership ability to remember the nuances that occur with varying frequency. Okay? Okay. Well, obviously, if we're going to expend time and effort to learn the 2/1 system, it must have some advantages, right? Okay, here's some of the biggies for your edification, and you do not need to memorize any of these. Of course, like all good systems, the initial objective is to discover and play in an 8-card major suit fit. Otherwise, we head for no trump country unless we lack stoppers in a side suit, which should probably be a major. After entering in a 2/1 game forcing auction, perhaps bidding 1 spade, 2 clubs, or another minor, using a slow show's Bastian's approach conserves valuable bidding space, signaling partner you have extra values so the partnership can more accurately describe features of their hands, i.e., the primary honors, aces and kings, and shape. Conversely, playing standard American, it can sometimes leave players in a quandary trying to determine forcing bids and discovering length of partner's suit when heading for a 3 no trump or major suit game. On the other hand, 2/1 players enjoy conserving space to make picture bids that slowly and carefully describe the partnership's aggregate strength, an approach similar to the winning Italian blue club and precision strong one club system, without having to learn a myriad of artificial bids. Now then, the forcing 1 no trump call also permits responder to easily make a sign-off bid at the 2 level, when it is clear the partnership does not have a fit. Incidentally, in both systems that they do not start off with a 2/1 auction, a rebid of your own or partner's suit at the lowest level continues to be a sign-off bid. And in both systems, when responder jumps in partner's major suit as 1 spade, 4 spades, the game rebid remains weak, a preemptive call intended to obstruct the opponent's when responder has 5 or longer suit fit with the major and less than 2 cover cards. After responders forcing no trump bid with 10 or 11 or a bad 12 points, responder has 3 invitational bids. Number 1, raise opener's second bid suit, also invitational in standard American system. Number 2, rebid 2 no trump. Hard to know the meaning sometimes when playing standard American whether it is a sign-off or invitational bid. Number 3, jump in a new suit after beginning in a forcing no trump call. This is a new twist for the 2/1 system, and it is game invitational. We'll get into this more shortly. Your emerging partner may have different ideas on this, though, so it's always a good idea to double check on methods. Also, a fair number of advanced players like to play responders' major suit jump rebid is forcing rather than invitational, such as 1 diamond, 1 spade, 2 clubs or 2 diamonds, 3 spades, rather than the typical invitational. Some like to play that as forcing to game with a lot of spades. As we will soon see on some example hand fragments, the 2/1 bidding system along with Q bids can improve our bidding accuracy when exploring slam. Later in our 2/1 series, we will get into some common agreements included, but for now, I will only mention them by name and quickly. Strong or weak jump shifts, reverses, Q bids in the opponent's suit, 4 suit forcing, new minor forcing, splinters, inverted minors, Michaels and the Western Q bid, and the unusual 2 no trump. Phew. Well, once again, when unpassed hand partner opens with 1 heart or 1 spade call, responder can make a game forcing 2-level bid in a lower ranking suit with 12 or more points. Now, in some situations, responder's suit may not be a 5-card suit, the same temporizing approach used in the standard American system. Also, like standard American, playing 2/1, we need 5 or more hearts to make a 2-heart response over partner's 1 spade opening bid, 1 spade, 2 hearts. Of course, the primary difference is that playing 2/1, responder must have a good 12 points or more to make a 2-level bid in the lower ranking suit that partner opened, since this bid is game forcing. Incidentally, I should stress that for a 2/1 game forcing auction to be on, the opener must not have previously passed. Likewise, after partner opens, the responder's right-hand opponent, that would be my left-hand opponent, must have passed for both the 2/1 system to be forcing no trump method to be on. We will get into the details shortly. Now, neither of our methods are on if an intervening double, a suit overcall, or One no trump overcall was made by my left-hand opponent, your right-hand opponent. But don't worry, we'll get into this in more depth shortly. Additionally, in the 2-over-1 system, should the responder initially bid at the 2 level be in a higher ranking suit than the opener, i.e. a jump in responder suit as 1 heart, 2 spades by you. A jump in a higher level and a higher ranking suit, or when responder makes a jump at the 3 level in a lower ranking suit, such as 1 spade, pass 3 clubs. Now these bids require special agreements, which will vary by partnership. Now what's that you say? What do I recommend? Well, the weak jump raise is okay for advanced players when bidding 1 heart, 2 spades, since they are clear that the responder has less than 6 points. But all too often I see newer players that want weak jump shifts but make a call with 6 points or more, like 1 spade, 3 diamonds with ace-6 3 times in a suit, which is way too much to make a weak jump shift that may take 4 or 5 tricks. So, playing weak jump shift methods, responders should have no more than 1 control in the 6+ card preempt suit. So for starters, I am with Mike Lawrence in his 2-over-1 workbook recommending the more traditional strong jump shift style for the emerging players with 16 or more distributional points when bidding 1 heart, 2 spades, or 1 heart, 1 spade, 3 clubs, 3 diamonds. Well, okay. For many players, in addition to the 2-over-1 being in effect after opener bids 1 heart or 1 spade, when the opener begins 1 diamond and the responder bids 2 clubs with a good 12 points or more, the partnership is still in a game forcing contract. We talked about this early. Different strokes for different folks, and yes, that's the way I like to play it. So, neither my partner nor I are inclined to make a 2-level call, say 2 clubs or 2 diamonds, with perhaps 10 or 11 points, or a bad 12 points, maybe with jack third on a side suit, leaving the partner with a bad contract that is doomed to go down when we wind up in the inevitable 3 no-trump contract. Now, in later episodes, we will have an opportunity to dig into all the juicy details associated with the 2-over-1 and forcing 1 no-trump contract. And in fact, here we will go into considerable detail in Advanced Lesson Part 4 and Part 5. We will start off, though, with an overview of our forcing 1 no-trump bid by responder after partner, unpassed hand, opened 1 heart or 1 spade. Incidentally, many bridge books teach openers rebids before addressing responders rebids, but I think you're going to find it easier to first look at responders rebids after making the forcing 1 no-trump call, and save openers rebids for another episode later down the road. So for now, suffice it to say that openers 2-level rebids in a lower ranking suit shows 12 to 18 points. Otherwise, opener could make a 3-level strong jump shift rebid to show 19 to 21 distributional points. And strong jump shifts are game forcing. Or opener could also rebid 2 no trump with 18 or maybe a bad 19 point hand. Okay, responder's 1 no trump bid to partner's major suit opener is alertable by the opener and announced to the opponents as forcing. The forcing bid may be in effect 1 or more rounds depending upon the follow-up bids by the opener and responder. So, after opener begins bidding 1 spade, a pass, when responder as an unpassed hand bids 1 no trump, announced forcing by the opener, never by the responder. We never self-alert our own bids. In many cases, the second lower ranking suit by the opener is a 3 or 4 card minor suit. After the forcing 1 no trump bid by responder, I would estimate that opener rebids a 3 or 4 card minor suit more than half of the time. On lucky hands where the opener holds a 6 card major suit, by all means share the good news and rebid it at the 2 level or higher. You have a 6 losing trick count, jump to the 3 level. Fortunately, it's only once every several hundred hands that openers dealt 4 spades, 5 hearts, and 2-2 in both the minor suits. Yes, I know it hurts badly to rebid 2 clubs with just a doubleton in this predicament, but consider this. Since you have 9 cards in the major suits, it's quite possible partner has complementary values in the minors. Then again, partner may yet surprise us by having made a temporizing bid starting off with a forcing 1 no trump and next making a jump bid to 3 or 4 hearts in our suit. Okay. However, after the auction, 1 heart, pass, 1 no trump, 2 clubs by the intervening opponent in the sandwich seat, opener may temporarily pass or even make a penalty double for their errant bid. And when in doubt, if a double is for takeout or penalty, a good rule of thumb is that our double is for penalty when our bid is after the right-hand opponent, that would be your left-hand opponent. Since we have tennises, ace, queen, the 10, king, jack, and so on in righty suit. Well, that won't work over our left-hand opponent since our tennises would be on the wrong side. So after this intervening bid of 2 clubs, a pass, pass, and then a double by you being the left-hand side of the intervening call, then that would normally be a balancing seat takeout double. Now then, it's back up to the partner, up to me in this case, the option whether to leave it in for penalty, maybe it's neutral vulnerability, or hustle to find a suit bid or maybe a no trump bid. Okay, well, going back to the most common situation where the opponents do not enter in the auction at the 2 level, every now and then the opener has a very big hand and wants to make a forcing rebid back to the responder. One example is when the opener began the bidding 1 heart, then after 1 no trump, rebids 2 spades. Since responder would be forced to make a bid of 2 no trump or a suit, another suit at the 3 level, and the partnership will need about 23 points to make a contract. And since the responder might hold a good 5 or 6 point hand, no more, the opener should have then 17 plus points to make a reverse to their second bid at a higher ranking suit at a higher ranking level. At any rate, this so-called reverse bid comes up less than maybe 1 in 100 times in both the standard American or 2/1 system. So I only bring it up to ensure that we all agree not to use it except when opener has a hand stronger than a 1 no trump opening bid with, in this case, 5 or more hearts and 4 spades. Well, how about when the opener has a balanced hand with a 5-3-3-2 shape and would like to rebid 2 no trump after responder made a forcing no trump call? How many points would you think are required here? Again, like the standard American system, openers should have at least a good 17-point hand with some distribution to a bad 19-point hand to make this highly invitational bid. So now you see why most of the time after responder makes a forcing no trump call, opener typically rebids in a minor when lacking 6 card in their major suit. Can't make a rebid there. Okay, next up on the scarcity is opener strong jump shift, beginning with 1 heart or 1 spade, followed by responder bidding 1 no trump, forcing, and opener jumping to 3 level in the lower ranking suit with 19 to 21 points. The strong jump shift rebid by opener is definitely forcing game, often played in a 3 no trump contract when responder cannot support partner's major, who often holds no more than 6 to 8 points as responder. And finally, the forcing 1 no trump response is off when partner opened 1 club or 1 diamond. But for bridge players, being what they are, some like to add subtle tweaks in their methods. In the auction of 1 diamond, 1 no trump, we know responder does not have a 4-card major, otherwise they would have bid them up the line. if they had both of them, or simply respond with the one 4-card major, since the primary bidding objective is to discover that golden 8-card major fit. But after one club, when the responder lacks a 4-card major, they could bid one no trump or one diamond, right? Yes, some creative types use the one diamond and or the one no trump bids to distinguish certain hands. Now, one common treatment would be the partnership agreement is to respond one diamond with a poor hand, 5 to 7-ish points, or a game forcing hand to show on a rebid, such as one club, one diamond, maybe one no trump, 2 spades. Well, why didn't they bid spades first? They're making reverse as the responder. That would show game forcing hand. Then if they were to bid one club and one no trump versus one diamond, that would show 8 to 10 points, a constructive hand. There are other methods as well. Precious few play the Kennedy convention, where the one diamond promises a 4-card major, while a direct bid of the major shows 5, a clever treatment, but one that will not work when partner opens one diamond. That is, one club, one diamond to show that you have a 4-card major versus one club, one heart, or one spade to show a 5-card or longer suit. Nice idea, but it doesn't work when I open one diamond. There's no intervening bids. So from a much simpler perspective, the good news is that in our case, just starting off, after a one club or one diamond opening bid, the responder's one no trump bid is simply meant to play and is not forcing. So before getting into the details of responders forcing one no trump call, let's begin by addressing some possible concerns. So first off, with a minimum hand, the responder can always pass opener's rebid with that bare minimum, maybe 5, 6, or 7 points, or even 8, and at least a modest fit in opener's second suit when responder has a singleton or maybe a void in partner's major suit. Or lacking a secondary suit fit and no better bid without a long responder suit of their own, which we'll discuss in a minute, yet with a 2-card major suit support for the opener, responder can make a preference sign-off bid in opener's major, a bid that is only meant to play and is not encouraging in any way. Now, one peculiar yet very useful aspect of the forcing no trump response is when responder also holds a very good 6-card or at least a nice 5-card suit with, let's say, 3 honors and a minimum of 6 to 9 point hand. Now let's face it, when we were playing standard American, sometimes we were tempted to make a bid in the lower ranking suit at the 2 level, despite the requirement, the fact that we were supposed to be promising 10 or more distributional points, right? Well, playing the forcing one no trump response, now responder's rebid has a way to make a sign-off bid with badly mismatched hand. That is, I, the opener, bid 2 different suits. In fact, on the next 2 auctions, they're fairly common sequences when playing a forcing one no trump response. After the opener begins bidding a major, responder starts off with a forcing one no trump, opener rebids a lower ranking suit, and now the responder can bid an in-between suit at the 2 level. In these situations, responders' rebids are to play, not forcing, despite opener being miffed without even perhaps a doubleton responder suit. Yet with a 6-card suit for responder, our very nice 5-card suit with those 3 honors, playing this method, now responder has a convenient method to sign off at the 2 level, naming the trump suit to help the partnership earn extra tricks. Now the next one, while a fairly rare bid and bird, on the 5th example where a responder makes a non-jump rebid in a minor suit at the 3 level, somewhat oddly, the bid is also meant to play. Now wait, you are probably thinking something's odd here. Since the partnership requires around 23 points to make a 3-level contract, why isn't this bid game invitational? Well, great question. First off, with an invitational hand, responders' rebids are either 2 no trump or a jump in responders' long suit to make an invitational bid after the forcing 1 no trump. Accordingly, with a fairly miserable hand with a 6 or 7 card suit, after openers forcing 1 no trump, the non-jump rebid at the 3 level is responder's last-ditch effort to find a suitable contract to hopefully make a part score. Many 2/1 players playing forcing 1 no trump initially get a little bit confused on this because it doesn't come up very often. At any rate, of course, with a 2-card support of partner's major suit or even a singleton honor, perhaps it's wiser for the responder to simply make a preference sign-off bid in partner's major suit and play at a lower level contract, that is at the 2 level. Okay, when responder wants to invite game without supporting opener's first bid suit, responder begins by bidding 1 no trump forcing, then rebids 2 no trump to elegantly invite game to 3 no trump. On our last example, responder invites game by either making a jump rebid in a new suit or in opener's first bid suit. Why not simply have responder immediately jump to 3 of opener's major suit? Well, stay tuned, it's coming up soon. So, what if you can't make an invitational jump bid? Let's say it goes 1 spade, 1 no trump, 2 diamonds, and as responder you have invitational hand with 6 or 7 card club suit, maybe 10, 11 points. Oh well, if you do not have the values to force a 3 no trump game on your own, you can still invite bidding 2 no trump, since bidding 3 clubs, as we mentioned, non-jump in a new suit was a sign-off bid. Okay, after all, it is invitational, so we should ask partner to decide based upon whether they have more than the promised minimum hand. That would be the opener. Do I have more than 12, 13, or 14 points? So let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far. Now, after opener begins with 1 heart or 1 spade as an unpassed hand, and responder makes a 1 no trump bid announced by opener as forcing, apparently with 5 or 6 points on up to 12 points. And oh, by the way, some of you may have ideas. It could be more points, but that's a discussion we'll save for another day. And opener now typically rebids a suit at the 2 level, probably in a lower ranking suit. The responder's options are: number 1, pass, accepting opener's rebid, major or minor, excepting when it's a game forcing bid by opener. That is a strong jump shift at the 3 level, promising 19 to 21 points, or a reverse bid at a higher ranking level in a higher ranking suit, showing 17 to 21 points. Option number 2, pass, partner's second suit with poor values, shortage in partner's major, yet with a good fit in opener's rebid suit. Number 3, accept partner's major suit preference, signing off at the 2 level with 2 or 3 trump support. Number 4, inviting game in partner's major suit with 9 to 10 points. We would make a 3 heart or 3 spade jump rebid, perhaps holding a flat 4 triple 3 or lacking a 4th trump if required. What's that, a 4th trump? Yes, a lot of these bridge books like to play that a major suit jump raise promises a 4th trump as an unpassed hand when making an invitational bid. So then, how would you invite game with around 10 to 11 points and only 3 trump? Aha! After my opening 1 heart, 1 spade, you would first respond 1 no trump, forcing, and then after partner's 2 level rebid in a new suit, let's say, you would jump to 3 of my suit to invite game. Well, okay, different strokes for different folks, and we'll cover these finer points in another episode. Number 5, raise partner's second bid suit with good values and a 4-card suit, asking partner to bid game with extras. That would be 3 no trump probably, or if it was hearts, then it would be looking for a heart game. So that leaves one somewhat odd exception, as you'll recall, that we have to remember. when responder has a minimal hand with 5 to 8 points, let's say, and no fit with opener in either suit, either the major or the new minor, and a reasonable 6-card suit and a chunky 5-card suit with 3 honors, I suppose, bid the suit at the 2 level to sign off with misfitting hands. If you must sign off the bidding at that 3 level, though, instead of accepting a preference to either of opener's 2 suits at the 2 level, then you ought to either have a 7-card suit or a pretty good 6-card suit, since you'll probably be on your own scratching for 9 tricks in a 3-level contract with misfitting hands. So as you'll recall, after starting with the 2-over-1 auction, including 1 spade, 2 hearts, with minimum opener bids, 4 hearts, it's fast denies. With extras, after responder shows a fit at the 3 level, with 15 plus points or 4 to 6 losing trick count hand, responder belatedly bids opener's major at the 3 level, and subsequently Q bids are showing controls, aces, kings, or shortness, singleton or voids on side suits. The concept of slow shows, fast denies, is an important concept that integrates throughout the 2-over-1 system. SSFD, slow shows, fast denies, is very helpful aid for partners to share key attributes after responder begins with a 2-level game forcing bid and the partnership belatedly discovers a fit, allowing them to share critical attributes at the low levels when exploring slam, similar to what we spoke about earlier in the precision system, or even going way back to the Italian blue team, their strong club. So auctions such as 1 spade by me, 2 hearts by you. If I go 3 hearts, then I'm showing some extras, whereas if I went to 4 hearts, that would show that minimum 12 to 14 point hand. And if I did go 3 hearts to support your suit, 5 card, remember, then with your 5 and my 3 or more, 4 clubs and then 4 diamonds, those would be showing aces, kings, or shortness. If it went 1 spade by me, 2 clubs by you, maybe 2 diamonds by me, 12 to 18 points, you bid 2 spades. We've shown a game forcing bid. Now when you went 2 spades, you're saying you have interest in slam. So I'm assuming you maybe have 6 losing trick count or something like this, a pretty good hand. Versus if you maybe just had a bare 12 or 13 points, maybe a 7 loser hand, which is a low value for an opener, then you just might sign off in 4 spades. Well, okay, to finish off this session, here's a few more bidding tips that will be useful. When one player unilaterally shows a semi-self-sustaining suit with a suit quality of 9, that could be 5 long and 4 honors, could be 6 long and 3 honors, 6 and 3 is 9, such as when the opener or responder makes a strong jump shift, etc. Some players consider the trump suit as having been set, with subsequent bids showing controls, just as where we saw earlier, where we did show a partnership fit. One person can autonomously set trump with these strong bids. So most will recognize 1 heart, 2 spade as a strong jump shift. Ditto with 1 spade, 3 hearts, unless we're playing special methods that we'll save for another day. But you recall that Mike Lawrence, the strong jump shift, is recommended by a lot of players. However, partners may not have discussed an auction such as opening 2 clubs artificial, 22 points or more, 2 diamond waiting bid, rather than going 2 heart, a rebid by me at 3 hearts. What is that? Well, it could be shown as being a great suit with a suit quality of 9 or more, semi-self-sustaining, and definitely game forcing. When in doubt, just remember ASBAF, A-S-B-A-F. What's that? All strange bids are forcing. And you should revert to your generalized partnership agreements when your partner seems to be throwing you a curveball that you do not recall having been specifically discussed, a la Mike Lawrence's style with higher level system notes over Eddie Cantor's self-proclaimed dreaded manila envelopes with hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of bid by bid agreements. Now, in the last example, the bidding begins 1 spade, 2 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, 2 spades, 3 diamonds. So while the pair does not show a fit, nor seems to be bidding no trump, apparently they're still on the hunt for either finding a no trump game, or perhaps responder is probing for a slam contract. Since responder's 2 heart bid is 4 suit forcing, which we'll get into later, other than to say, just like standard American, it's forcing and perhaps artificial, the opener is staying away from 2 no trump here. Perhaps responder is considering a diamond slam, yet is still wondering if 3 no trump might be the best auction, getting more information from the opener. But yes, after responder's game forcing 2 club call, this will always be a bona fide game forcing auction despite the creepy nature of follow-up bids. In playing my own preferred treatment, when opener might slip past 3 no trump and instead bid 4 diamonds, which has been bid twice, I would see it as not only game forcing but also asking responder for aces, i.e. the minor wood convention that was discussed way back in Pulling U49, if you and your partner play that. However, I only bring this up as a sidebar discussion since Q-bidding slams is a topic best saved for another day. Well, okay, you want to begin bidding hands? To be sure, I am eager to begin bidding hands right along with you. So in part 2, we will jump right in and compare and contrast a few hands where the 2/1 system shines over the standard American system. In summary, for aspiring bridge players who are on the quest to improve their bidding skills, learning the 2/1 system is a significant step forward on some challenging auctions. Now, of course, like any bright and shiny new toy, there's always a downside, which we will discuss more in a later lesson. But, as you might surmise, many advancing bridge players find it irresistible not to tweak systems and methods. Even the leading bridge authors have some subtle but noteworthy variances associated with certain bidding treatments. Common popular 2/1 bridge authors that players reference initially was Max Hardy, the late great Max Hardy, Mike Lawrence, the Bridge World Magazine standard, OK Bridge and Bridge Base Online internet sites, Marty Bergen, including his forcing 1 no trump. I don't think we mentioned that before, which even talks about a semi-forcing 1 no trump. Aha, how about that? And he gets into Bergen raises and other gadgets. Paul Thurston and his 25 steps to learning 2/1. Dee Barry, 2/1 in a nutshell, along with Eric Rodwell teaming up with Audrey Grant and their latest book. Okay, but don't worry, despite all my caveats, for the most part, these are minor tweaks that don't affect the fundamentals of the 2/1 system, and I will try to cover the subtle differences as we progress through our lesson. Well, okay, Bridge Thrill Seekers, let's scoot on over to part 2, where we will begin bidding lots of bridge hands here at Bridge Hands. So as always, thank you for dropping by. We appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you on the flip side.